Okay, so the first thing I wanted to go over was the, quote, entrance ticket to the last video to make sure we know what the answer is. It asked you to find the intercepts. So I just want to remind you to find the x-intercept. We need to plug 0 in for y. And we also talked about it's as easy as just covering that up because that's going to equal 0, right? So I'll show you the long way. We're plugging 0 in for y, which is just 0, right? And so then the x-intercept would be -6. Okay, the x-intercept, -6. Okay, and then the y-intercept, this time we're going to put 0 in for x, so you should be able to quickly see what the y value would be. But if you need to go through the steps of plugging in 0 in for y, then please do that. That is important to understand that did I say for y? I meant x. That x is 0 here at the y-intercept. And so our y-intercept is 18. So we have an x-intercept of -6 and a y-intercept of 18. And just really important, I want you to remember that these do not go together as one point. These are two entirely separate coordinates. Okay? Okay, so the piece I wanted to add in this video is how to make sure, that we can write an equation in standard form with integer coefficients. Write it in standard form with integer coefficients. Now, we know that to find our intercepts, it's easy to find our intercepts if our equations are in standard form. So all we're looking at with this is being able to take the equation and rearrange it so, this isn't what I wanted, 2/3 is what I wanted, 2/3. Rearrange this so that it is in standard form. And what you're going to see is that many times all of our coefficients, all the coefficients on the x and y are integer values. Okay? It doesn't always have to be, but the reason we're focusing on this and stressing this a little bit is because when you take your end of course test, your STAR test, this is how your answers will be written, and we need to be able to recognize it in different forms. Okay? So right now our equation is in slope-intercept form. We need to put this into our standard form where x and y are on the same side. And what I want you to think about is that we want A, B, and technically C, even though it's not a coefficient, to be integers. And another thing I want us to focus on is we want A to be positive. And again, I'm just stressing that because this is often how you will see the answer. And so if we practice doing this now, then it won't confuse us when we start having the multiple choice and looking at it like that. Okay, so the first thing I would want to do probably here is go ahead and move my x to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 2/3 x from both sides. So I have -2/3 x plus y equals -8. Now, here comes in the part that we've already learned before. We basically need to get rid of this fraction. I need to clear out this fraction. We've already learned how to do that. This is the only fraction, so it's easy. All we have to do is multiply by 3. Now, the other thing is, notice, this is my a value right now. It's negative. We want to make the negative go away. So I'm going to multiply by -3. Okay? So that's going to make this positive 2x minus 3y equals positive, and we don't have to put that positive sign. I was just stressing that it's positive 24. And so this is our equation in standard form with integer coefficients. And we've made that a value positive. So that's all it is. Okay, it's just moving things, x and y to the same side, and making sure our fractions are gone. Okay, here's another example. Y equals -1/4 x plus 3/8. Okay. So again, the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to move my x to the same side as my y. So this time I would add 1/4 x. We're just doing inverse operations. Okay. And now we need to get rid of our fractions. We already have a positive a value, so we don't have to worry about that this time. And so now let's look at both of our fractions. What would be the least common multiple or denominator that we could multiply by? I hope you're thinking 8. So 8 times 1/4 is 2x. 8 times y is 8y. 8 times 3/8 is 3. So here we have it, standard form with all integer coefficients. Okay? So just to make sure we've got this, I'm going to give you a practice problem. I want you to try it on your own, and here I'm making this up in my brain. So y equals 2/3 x minus 1/6. Okay? Pause your video, do the problem yourself, and then check it. Okay, so we would subtract 2/3 x from both sides to start with. And then I need to make all these fractions integers. I want to make my a value positive, so I'm going to multiply this by -6 because that is the least common denominator between the two. So this is going to be positive 4x minus 6y equals 1. Okay, if you got it right, give yourself a pat on the back. If not, go back and really look at it, and then you'll have some more practice problems on your assignment.